Welcome to the Paul Levette Show, the show where truth meets bold patriotism. I am your host, Paul Levette, a proud and unapologetic Black American conservative. Well, who doesn't like a good political debate every now and then? President Trump and Elon Musk are putting on a great contest currently. The MAGA King and the DOGE Master were once inseparable since shortly before the November 2024 presidential election, but have now entered into the octagon for a serious disagreement over the president's proposed budget. So, who is right? The president's one big beautiful bill, or Elon Musk, who calls the budget a massive, outrageous, disgusting abomination and pork filled? Let's take a look and let you use your critical thinking and intellectual honesty to decide for yourself. Of course, you will get a full dose of my analysis and opinion before we are done. Before we start, here's a look at the headlines on Citizen Free Press as of 6:25 p.m. on June 5th, 2025. The political discourse has really exploded today. I never thought it could get this ugly this quickly. And note that any copyrighted material used in today's episode is for under fair use and will be used for educational critique and commentary purposes. So here are the furious headlines that coming across the wires as the president and Elon Musk go head to head. So here's the ugly truth that reminds us that government, whether Democrat or Republican, is just a bunch of power-hungry individuals buying votes with handouts. Both parties, Democrat and Republican, have been selling our children and grandchildren's future for votes today to stay in power. Let's take a look at the CBO's projections. The CBO's projections from 2025 to 2035, the one big beautiful bill would cut federal reserves by $3.7 trillion. So that's tax cuts. Taxes are obviously revenue. It would also cut spending by a $1.25 trillion. So that gives us an estimated deficit of $2.4 trillion. What we see here is that the president is going to continue the annual budget deficits and increase them over the next 10 years. The only hope we have is economic growth in the economy, but that is a serious bird in the bush as opposed to a bird in the hand. So now let's look at the CBO's projections of the new budget's annual impact for the next 10 years. So what we see on the chart here is that the president's one big beautiful bill is going to carry a annual multi-trillion-dollar deficit each year from now till 2035, which is a big slap in the face to the American people as we put them in office to rein in spending and get a control over the budget. And clearly it is in conflict with DOGE. So now let's look at the mindset of 2016 Trump and 2024 Trump. So 2016 candidates stated that we got to get rid of the $19 trillion debt. Well, I would say over the period of 8 years, and I'll tell you why, end quote. He also promised to balance the federal budget in that time fairly quickly, he said, and even suggested that he could get it done within his time in office. Now, 2024 candidate Trump was noticeably less specific on the numbers. He instead focused on making big giveaway promises such as tax cuts. This was a central promise, which was to make the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act individual and business tax cuts permanent. as many are going to expire in 2027. He has also promised to further reduce taxes by lowering the corporate tax rate and eliminating federal income taxes on tips and Social Security benefits for retirees. Now, I want to be clear. I 100% support making the TCJA tax cuts being made permanent. But the other tax cuts should only be done if they are offset with an equal amount of spending cuts. The president did have the intent to pay for this with tariffs on foreign goods and by government overhaul and spending cuts. The latter was the impetus for Elon Musk and DOGE. The twofold problem for the president is that, one, there has been no indication that the imposed tariffs are going to net anything near what is needed to offset the big tax giveaways he is promising. Understand, lowering taxes lowers revenue, which means you have less money to spend. Duh. The second problem is that activist Democrat judges are trying to block these tariffs, government efficiency, and immigration policies at every turn with their national injunctions. These judges are acting like monarchs and trashing the president's Article 2 powers. The Founding Fathers created Congress in Article 1 and in their wisdom made the judiciary in Article 3. Now, while the branches are co-equal, it is clear what was most important to the Founding Fathers based on the order in which they created each branch of government. The President and Congress's betrayal of DOGE and Elon Musk. The betrayal came in the form of the President's One Big Beautiful Bill. This monstrosity, per the CBO, is projected to increase the U.S. deficit by $2.4 trillion over the next decade. This number is from an estimated $3.67 trillion drop in revenue from lowering taxes and $1.25 trillion in spending cuts compared to baseline projections they were using. I'm not going to dive into the weeds of the monstrosity, and we don't need to either. All you need to do is look at the net cost of government. Is it remaining at the same level, or is it moving higher? And clearly, the CBO shows us that it is increasing to the tune of $2.4 trillion. Part of the reason we voted for the President Trump was to reform government, to not only rein in spending, but also to cut spending. The American people have some understanding of the massive, crushing debt bomb we are leaving for our children and grandchildren. Now, let's take a look at what Elon Musk had to say about the One Big Beautiful Bill. Let's look at what Elon Musk had to say on X regarding the One Big Beautiful Bill. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those of you who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. And earlier in the year, in February, he stated exactly, America is going bankrupt from extreme levels of government spending. Either radical action is taken or we're toast. June 4th. A new spending bill should be drafted that doesn't massively grow the deficit and increase the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. And finally, interest payments already account for 25% of all government revenue. If the massive deficit spending continues, there will only be money for interest payments and nothing else. No Social Security, no medical, no defense, nothing. And that is the 5-alarm fire this last tweet. We are mortgaging our future. We are leaving nothing for our kids and grandchildren. It is just shameful that the greatest nation on the planet is doing this, and that our politicians have no spine to course correct and stop the crazy spending. My brain is really in overload from all the headlines, insults, and very bad suggestions thrown in from Steve Bannon. Basically, he said for the president to seize SpaceX from Elon Musk. In short, the president on Truth Social floated the idea of financially crippling SpaceX, to which Elon Musk responded that he would be forced to decommission the Dragon capsules. The Dragon capsules are the primary means to get astronauts to and from the International Space Station. Apparently, Steve Bannon did not critically think through what one would do if the government bankrupts your company, because obviously you cannot continue operations. This is a reminder of the pure tyranny of government when it decides to target you or any individual. Trump and Musk are both acting like elementary school children, but the bigger person at fault here, of course, is President Trump, because he controls the levers of power. Additionally, the president is pushing through this one big beautiful bill that continues to mortgage our children and grandchildren's future. This is not hyperbole, as you can see from my slides showing the massive increase in the national debt over the past 10 years using the U.S. Treasury's data. Additionally, when you look at the CBO's 10-year forecast for the deficit if the one big beautiful bill is passed. Also, remember that currently the interest paid to service our national debt is larger than the entire Defense Department's budget. The proposed budget currently for the Defense Department is $1.01 trillion. Elon Musk stated on June 3rd that we just looked at, it accounts for 25% of all of the government's revenue. That's not sustainable. The one big beautiful bill is indeed a massive, outrageous, pork-filled, disgusting abomination as stated by Elon Musk. The only rational thing to do is for the Senate to kill this bill and put forth a bill that achieves the president's goals and promises for the American people. However, this must be paid for or offset with spending cuts, and we need a constitutional amendment that forces the government to balance the budget without borrowing. Americans also need a good taste of medicine. Basically, the sacred cows of entitlements must be reformed and expunged of any fraud, waste, and abuse. Why is it we cannot agree that able-bodied people should not be receiving government benefits? They are capable of taking care of themselves. And I truly believe that Americans, the vast majority of Americans, believe that also. Work for your keep. So with that said, I want to thank you. Before we go, I would like to touch on a postscript of Elon Musk is 100% correct, and I 100% agree with him on the debt issue, that we need to rein it in. We need to stop mortgaging the future. But he did something very, very ill-advised by attacking the president personally, by bringing up the Jeffrey Epstein, the president's association with Epstein in the past. This was a below the belt, and I'm just shocked that a man of his intellect would do something like this. But what it tells you is Elon Musk is emotionally immature by doing such a thing. You cannot, you're not going to win against the government by insults, and most certainly not by insulting President Trump. He's not going to take it. So wise up, Elon. Learn from this massive mistake. You're not going to get to talk to the president for a while, I suspect. So this is a lesson for all of us. Do not go DEFCON 1 and nuke the opposition. Keep it professional. Keep it wise. And with that said, let's close this out. I want to thank you for sticking around this long and remind you to like this video, subscribe to our channel, help us get to that magic 1,000 subscribers, and hit the notification button. Be sure to share this with your friends. And until next time, this is the Paul Levette Show.